Good morning, everyone. I believe you are all doing great today. It's Monday morning, and I'm so excited I'm doing this. I really appreciate you guys for being a part of tonight of this morning section. All right, this is just let me say a report of the class I took a while ago on intrapersonal diagnosis that I gave out some assignments for people to actually carry out. And this is from Smart Nation Learning Hall. This is a platform where you get to bring your ideas into fruition, where you bring your dreams into reality. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. And today we'll be talking about intrapersonal diagnosis. So, back then, 2016, when I began to get to know myself better, so I realized that we're in a season and time whereby a quite number of people are experiencing self crisis, or something I call the internal crisis, identity crisis. In other words, they don't have an idea of who they are, don't have an idea of who their personality is. So, because of this, I came up with this particular topic because it was in this process I got to know more about myself, and then I called it self conference. I called it self cogitation. I called it a self meeting with myself. And looking at it at this moment, I realized that the best name I can actually call it now it is interpersonal diagnosis. So today I'm talking about this particular topic called the intrapersonal diagnosis. Now, have you ever wondered why some people actually go into so many fields? For instance, they are today they are into filmmaking, tomorrow they are into content writing, next tomorrow they are into electronics, just doing a quite number of stuff together because they don't actually know where to function. Back then, when I was in secondary school, I was in these shoes too. I was in the science department, but somehow along the line, I could not actually understand why I'm in that particular department. I was struggling a lot. I was struggling with mathematics, with physics, with chemistry, with further mathematics. Imagine me that I don't know mathematics, and I'm taking further mathematics. It was a no-no for me. I was feeling woefully. Then because of that, my dad had to speak to the principal of the school and let him know that I'm not sure Sam will be able to do this. And how that came to be, I actually attended a lesson organized by my dad for me to actually learn better to see where I'm not doing well. So then I realized that okay, Sam, okay, for you to actually do well, you need to learn and to know more about yourself. Then I was giving so many tests. I wrote articles, I wrote letters, I do so many things. Then while writing the articles and the letters, I realized that I expressed myself more, that I could do better in writing. I realized that I was even much more better than some other students who are in the art class. That is, who should know more about all of these writing skills and all. But without being taught, I was able to do all of these things easily, and I passed more than those guys. Do you understand? Then my dad met with the principal and was like, okay, let's say I'm going to the arts department. So when I went to the arts department, I realized that I was doing better. I was doing better. But because my friends who were in the science department missed me and I missed them, I was like, my friends, so I can't just leave them and come to any department I don't know anybody about. Then I went back to my science department. Then I was still struggling. In order for me to just go to the department that will function better. From there, I felt okay, let me try commercial department. I spoke to my dad about it. And they took us to commercial department. After a day or two there, I left there again. Can you imagine? And I now found myself back in art class finally. So, because I don't know myself, I was shuffling from one department to the other. Do you get? So right now, the reason I can boldly talk about this particular topic is because I've experienced it myself. I have experienced it. When I never get to know more about myself, when I never get to know more about what I can do, it was easy for me to, go into so many things. But now that I know, because I know, I stood my ground and I began to take every necessary lessons available for me to learn, for me to be better in a particular field. Do you understand? So this morning I'll be talking about intrapersonal diagnosis. So now let me let you know one thing, that learning without knowing who you are, learning without knowing who you are, and let me just say, or what you are supposed to do, what you are ordained to do. Do you understand? what you're ordained to do. Is the beginning of failure. You understand? It's the beginning of failure. So you must know and understand who you are. Understanding who you are is the beginning of learning. I'm telling you, it's the beginning of even it's the beginning of education, because education is bigger than academics. Academics is limited to the circumference of books, of what are taught in school. But education starts with knowing yourself, knowing that the opportunities available to you, knowing your giftings, your potentials, and how you can deploy that particular giftings, that knowledge in your immediate environment and cause a change. That is education. Education is different from academics. You can self-educate yourself. Do you understand? Academics, not anybody can teach you academics. I mean, you can't teach yourself academics. You go to a particular platform to teach you academics. But education, you can self-educate yourself. So education starts from learning about yourself. So learning without knowing who you are or what you were designed to be is a waste of time and resources. In other words, you need to know yourself. You need to understand yourself. You need to know why you exist. You need to know the giftings available to you. You need to know your passion, your interest. You need to know your personality. So what you should learn should be a function of what you have discovered about yourself. What you should learn should be where you are, should be about where you are going. What you should learn should be a function of an understanding that, okay, this is who I am. So if you don't know yourself and venture into learning, I'm telling you, you're going to waste money, you're going to waste all kind of resources, time, energy, your strength, everything. What I'm trying to say is that this training is not will be a training. I mean, will be a mess if you don't actually know who you are. All right. So now it is also important for you to know that interpersonal diagnosis goes a long way in transforming your life, because it is the beginning of knowing yourself. So if you can do this, it will be easier for you to do anything in life, because you already know who you are. You know your giftings, you know your potentials, you know the things you need to do, you know the sacrifices you need to pay, you know where you need to learn, you know even the schools you learn or you learn from, or the school you attend is also should also be a function of who you are. Do you understand all of these things? So every single detail about your life should be a function of who you know about yourself. Should be a function of what you know about yourself. Should be a function of the things you've understood about the giftings that you have inside. So now, what is intrapersonal diagnosis? So this is a process and art of discovering what makes you different, what makes you unique. Do you understand? That is the first process. Is discovering what makes you different from every other person. So it is important for you to know that this is a process that will ultimately make you know who you are. It will reveal your identity to you, your giftings, how you can hone it, how you can make the best out of it. And the reason we celebrate, like I said, the reason we celebrate the great minds in this world is because they've gone through this process as well. So if you've not gone through this process, it'll be hard for it to be celebrated by anybody. You understand? Because looking at Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these great influencers, the reason we could celebrate them now is because they have gone through this process at a time in their life. So you also need to do this. Imagine someone who wants to study, who wants to go into neuroscience and is in mass communication department, or who wants to be a medical doctor and it's a commercial department. That person is wasting time and resources. So this platform is actually a place for you to learn and understand that intrapersonal diagnosis is something you need to pay attention to. It's something you need to do. It's something you need to spend most of your time on. Because if you can do this, if you know yourself, I'm telling you, you know about the world. I'm telling you the truth. If you know yourself, then it will be easier for you to know the world at a larger extent. So now, what are the processes of intrapersonal diagnosis? The processes of intrapersonal diagnosis. All right. The first step or the first process of intrapersonal diagnosis is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Now, self-awareness talks about knowing yourself, knowing your strength, knowing your weaknesses, knowing your opportunities available to you, knowing your environment, knowing everything that needs to know about yourself. You understand? For instance, you need to know about your personality. Are you a choleric? Are you a melancholy? Are you a phlegmatic? Are you a sanguine? Do you understand? You need to know you need to know yourself. You need to practice self-awareness. You need to be conscious of who you are. That's what I'm trying to say. Be conscious of who you are. Be conscious of what you are, what you've been ordained to be. So self-awareness also talk about knowing your gifts and potentials, knowing your interests, knowing the things you like, the things you do not like, knowing the things you easily gravitate towards, knowing the things that makes you happy. Do you get? So self-awareness is knowing your environment, knowing everything that there is to know about you. Do you get? So this is how this thing works. So you can't achieve anything in life if you've not passed through this process of self-awareness. You need to be aware, you need to be conscious. So when you are conscious, when you are aware of all of these things, then you cannot begin to act based on that awareness, based on that consciousness, because your consciousness is the definition of who you are. It reveals your future. It reveals what you can do. Do you understand? So self-awareness is so important, and self-awareness itself is a process. It's a process. You need to know why you are here, who you are, your giftings, your potentials. Then you now go to the temperament. Okay, this is my temperament. Okay, what makes my temperament different from every other temperament? What are the strengths and weaknesses of my temperament? All of these are the things you need to know about yourself, your giftings. Okay, who are people you've seen in the world who have this kind of abilities, who have this kind of gift? So what do they do with their gift? Then channel it to yourself. Okay, how can I also benefit from these things? How can I deploy mine? How can I hone it? Do you get it? So that is what self-awareness talk about. Now, why the personal interest talks about what are your interests? My interest is different from yours. Now, after you've gone through self-awareness, the next phase is personal interest. If you've not gone through self-awareness, you can't know your interest. At times, you might have interest in a particular thing and you're not gifted in it. You will need to learn in that aspect. That is when learning takes place. That is why I said learning would be a waste if you've not discovered yourself, if you've not gone through intrapersonal diagnosis, if you've not gone through self-awareness. So your personal interest is also a means through which you can actually know yourself, through which you can get to know about who you are, which can also make you understand, okay, if I should learn these things, it might find into play some of my giftedness. Do you get that? Now, the next phase, because of our time, is dreams. Now, what are dreams? Remember the last topic I mentioned or I taught us on was dreams. I said that dreams are rumors from the future. Dreams are stitches from the future. So your dreams are also a pointer to knowing who you are. Your dreams are also indicator to knowing who you are designed to be. Your dream is a definition of you. Your dreams comes from the future to tell you who you are and who you are supposed to be, what you are going to be. So your dreams are quite important to you. So you should not take them for granted. Now, dreams are not just the pictures of things you see while you sleep. No, dreams are also the pictures you imagine about yourself. Are your ideas that have been turned into pictures. You need to know all of these parts so that you can be effective. So your dreams are also a pointer to who you are. Do you get that? So now the next phase is daily habit of learning. Now, daily habit of learning, which is DHL, is a concept that I coined 2019 thereabouts. So when you've gone through self-awareness, you've gone through personal interest, you've gone through your dreams, then you need to go into daily habits of learning. Now, when you begin to learn every day of your life, that is daily habits of learning, When you deploy this habit and you begin to learn every day of your life, it will be easier for you to know yourself. For instance, I never knew I could teach like this. I never knew I could stand before people and talk. I never knew I can make doing this. I never knew I could talk about so many things in some fields and I do not even belong to. So when I begin to learn all of these things, I begin to realize that, oh, so Sam, I can teach. So I know so much about some particular topics that makes me always want to talk about them. So because I learn every day, I begin to hone my giftedness every day, then I could host something like this. So the question I want to pose to you this morning is that how often do you learn? How often do you learn about yourself? How often do you learn about your interests? How often do you learn about your giftings? How often do you learn about the things you've seen in your dream do? So these are the processes through which you get to know more about yourself. Daily habits of learning, dreams, personal interest, and self-awareness. I'm done with the class. Now, let's go to practical. Let's go practical. Now, for instance, the assignment I'm going to give to you is for you to answer these questions. Who am I? What are my giftings? Or what are my potentials? What are my passions? What do I have interest in? Or where does my interest lie? Then, who are experts in these fields that I can learn from? I'll come again. What are my gifts? What are my potentials? Who am I? What are my passions? Where does your interest lie? Then do your research to know experts who are in your fields that you need to learn from. So, intrapersonal diagnosis is a process through which you get to know more about yourself, you get to know more about the giftedness available to you, you get to know more about the abilities that can make you become everything God has ordained you to be. So you do not need to just waste any time. Just go through all of these things. In other words, you need to sit down, have a meeting with yourself. Now ask yourself, okay, what are my giftings? For instance, Samuel, for me, I could write. I've written 4 books. I could write. I could talk. I love anything that's to do with leadership. I love anything that's to do with leadership. I love what as well. I love music. I have interest in leadership. I have interest in politics. I have interest in owning schools. I have interest in helping people discover their purpose, their core assignments in life. Do you understand? Then, after I discover this part of me, and I begin to learn everything that I need to learn concerning the particular area of my interest and my giftings. So when I begin to learn them, then I realize that okay, these are the things I know I can do. Then that is why this class came to be. This institution came to be. So the reason you are not doing right in life is because you've not learned right about yourself. When you learn right about yourself, you do the right thing that that's what you to be. So the assignment I've given to you, I want you to work on it, then get them back across to me. As I vet them, I'm going to call you once you submit assignment. I will call you and I'll put it through. Then you cannot begin to understand, okay, why you have studied the things you study in school, or why you have to stop studying them and go for some other courses. So once again, thank you for being a part of today's section. I really appreciate you guys. Remember, learning would be a waste if you've not gone through the process of intrapersonal diagnosis. I celebrate you and love it permanently. I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.